The theory of human evolution from fish may seem like a far-fetched idea, but it's a hypothesis that has been suggested by some scientists and researchers over the years. While it's not widely accepted in the scientific community, the idea of humans evolving from fish is an interesting topic to explore and speculate about. This is Fantasy World. We try to imagine everything about your fantasy. The idea of a common ancestor is a central tenet of evolutionary theory, and it forms the basis for the theory of human evolution from fish. According to this theory, all life on Earth can be traced back to a single organism that lived over 3.5 billion years ago. This organism was likely a simple, single-celled organism that existed in the primordial oceans of the early Earth. Over time, this organism began to evolve and diversify. Through a process of mutation, natural selection, and genetic drift, new traits and adaptations emerged, allowing the organism to survive and thrive in its environment. Over millions of years, this organism gave rise to more complex life forms, including fish, reptiles, mammals, and eventually, humans. The evolution of fish is an important part of this story. Fish are some of the oldest and most successful creatures on Earth, with a fossil record that stretches back over 500 million years. They were the first animals to evolve a backbone, or vertebral column, and they played a crucial role in the evolution of all vertebrate life forms, including humans. The evolution of fish was a gradual process that occurred over millions of years. During this time, fish gradually developed new traits and adaptations that allowed them to survive in their environment. Some of these adaptations included gills, which allowed fish to extract oxygen from water, and fins, which allowed them to swim more efficiently. As fish continued to evolve, some species began to develop new adaptations that allowed them to survive in shallow water and eventually on land. These adaptations included lungs, which allowed fish to breathe air, and legs, which allowed them to move on land. These early land-dwelling fish eventually gave rise to the first amphibians, which in turn gave rise to reptiles, mammals, and eventually, humans. The theory of human evolution from fish is not without its challenges and criticisms. Some scientists argue that the lack of direct fossil evidence linking humans to fish makes this theory unlikely. Others argue that the similarities between human embryos and fish embryos do not necessarily indicate a shared evolutionary history, as embryos of different species often resemble each other during development. The observation that human embryos go through a phase where they have gills and a tail is one of the most intriguing pieces of evidence supporting the theory of human evolution from fish. This observation suggests that humans share a common evolutionary history with fish, and that our distant ancestors may have had gills and a tail. During the early stages of human embryonic development, the developing embryo goes through a phase where it has a series of gill arches. These gill arches are very similar to the gills found in fish, and they are believed to be a remnant of our evolutionary history. As the embryo develops, these gill arches are reabsorbed and replaced by other structures, such as the lungs. The fact that human embryos have a tail is also interesting. This tail is made up of a series of vertebrae, just like the tail of a fish. In humans, this tail is usually reabsorbed by the 7th week of development, but in some cases, it may persist and result in a vestigial tail. This suggests that humans may have evolved from ancestors that had a tail, just like many fish species. While the observation that human embryos have gills and a tail is certainly compelling, it is important to note that this is not the only piece of evidence supporting the theory of human evolution from fish. There are many other lines of evidence that point to a shared evolutionary history between humans and fish, including fossil records, genetic evidence, and anatomical similarities. For example, the fossil record shows that fish were the first vertebrates to evolve, and that they gave rise to the first amphibians, which in turn gave rise to reptiles, mammals, and eventually, humans. The genetic evidence also supports this idea, as many of the genes that are involved in the development of limbs and other structures in humans are also found in fish. Additionally, many of the anatomical similarities between humans and fish are striking. For example, both humans and fish have a similar skeletal structure, with a backbone and a series of ribs. Both also have a similar muscular system, with muscles that are used for movement and respiration. Finally, both humans and fish have a similar nervous system, with a brain and a series of nerves that are used for sensory processing and motor control. Another piece of evidence supporting the theory of human evolution from fish is the fact that humans share a large percentage of their DNA with other animals, including fish. In fact, humans share over 60% of their DNA with fish, which is a significant amount. This suggests that humans and fish have a common ancestor somewhere in their evolutionary history. One of the biggest challenges to the theory of human evolution from fish is the lack of fossil evidence. While there have been many important fossil discoveries that have helped us understand human evolution, there are no known fossils that directly link humans to fish. This has led some scientists to reject the theory of human evolution from fish as a viable hypothesis. Despite the lack of direct fossil evidence, there are some interesting and compelling arguments for the theory of human evolution from fish. For example, some researchers have suggested that the evolution of fish into land animals was a gradual process that occurred over millions of years. During this process, fish gradually developed new traits and adaptations that allowed them to survive on land. These adaptations may have included lungs, legs, and other features that are common to land animals. If the theory of human evolution from fish were true, it would mean that our distant ancestors were fish that gradually evolved over millions of years to become the complex creatures we are today. It would also mean that all life on Earth is connected and related, which is a profound and humbling idea. The theory of human evolution from fish is a fascinating and thought-provoking idea that has captured the imaginations of scientists and the general public alike. While the theory is not widely accepted in the scientific community, it is still an important concept that raises many interesting questions about the origins of life and our place in the universe. One of the most important questions raised by the theory of human evolution from fish is the nature of the relationship between all living things on Earth. If humans did indeed evolve from fish, it suggests that we are all part of a grand evolutionary lineage that stretches back over 3.5 billion years. This realization can help us to better understand the interconnectedness of all life on Earth, and our place in the complex web of life that surrounds us. The theory of human evolution from fish also raises questions about the nature of evolution itself. If humans evolved from fish, it suggests that evolution is a long and complex process that is driven by a combination of environmental pressures and genetic mutations. This realization can help us to better understand the mechanisms of evolution, and the many factors that have influenced the course of human evolution over time. In addition to these important questions, the theory of human evolution from fish also has the potential to impact our understanding of biology and medicine. If humans did indeed evolve from fish, it suggests that there may be important similarities between the biology of humans and fish that could be exploited for medical purposes. For example, the genes that control the development of gills in fish may hold the key to developing new treatments for respiratory diseases in humans. Overall, the theory of human evolution from fish is a fascinating idea that raises many important questions about the nature of life on Earth. While it is not widely accepted in the scientific community, it is still a valuable concept that can help us to better understand our place in the universe, and the complex history of life that has led us to where we are today. Whether or not humans actually evolved from fish is still a matter of debate. But the theory of human evolution from fish is an intriguing possibility that has captured the imaginations of scientists and the general public alike.